Good evening and welcome to the 1562nd meeting of the General Student Senate, the 15th meeting of the 45th session. It is fall 2024. I now call this meeting to order. Next, we will move on to the land acknowledgements read by myself. The University of Maine recognizes that it is located on Marsh Island in the homeland of the Penobscot Nation, where issues of water and territorial rights and encroachment upon sacred sites are ongoing. Penobscot homeland is connected to the other Wabanaki tribal nations, the Passamaquoddy, the Maliseet, and Mi'kmaq, through kinship, alliances, and diplomacy. The university also recognizes that the Penobscot Nation and the other Wabanaki tribal nations are distinct, sovereign, legal, and political entities with their own powers of self-governance and self-determination. We will now poll.
Cynthia Shelmerdine. Here. Nate Fay.
Here.
Thurman Thompson.
Here.
Katie Buzzle. Here. Holly Warren. Elsa Merchant.
Here.
Joshua Ball.
Here.
Juliana Jones. Here. Baxter Harvey.
Excuse.
James Reeder Stewart.
Excuse.
Tom Mishu.
Here.
Meredith Waters. Here. Darren Martone.
Here.
Kyle Ricker.
Here.
Megan Tripp.
Here.
Memphis Peterson.
Here.
Oliver Boyce.
Here.
Will Lehman.
Here.
Neil Rocky.
Here.
Elizabeth Oldfield. Here. Abby Downer. Here. Zoe Stankovitz. Here. Olivia Burton. Here. Riley Mills.
Here.
Mackenzie LeBlanc. Oh, Proxy. Megan Levesque. Here. Arquez.
Excuse.
Hannah Blanchett.
Excuse.
Isabel Costello. Here. John Guzman.
Here.
Cass Valletta. Here.
Did you call Lori Stelker?
No, but no,
Okay.
but Lori Sadelka. Okay.
I also forgot to read the notice of this meeting is being broadcast via Zoom and the recording will be publicly available on YouTube. I am now looking for approval of the April 23rd, 2024 minutes and this agenda.
I motion to approve the minutes in this agenda.
Second. If it's the pleasure of the Senate, that's adopted. Yeah. I'm going to skip the Robert's Rules tip of the week because I completely forgot about that. And we'll move on to the general good and welfare, and the non-member may address the General Student Senate for not more than 5 minutes. Going once, going twice, seeing none, we will move on to new senators, officer appointments, and resignations. If the following will please rise, Juliana Jolin, did I say that right?
Yeah.
And Yolanda Merchant. Please raise your right hands and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Bill,
Do solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that I will support and uphold
that I will support and uphold
the Constitution of Student Government Inc.
the Constitution of the Student Government Committee
and all other rules and guidelines
and all other rules and guidelines
to which I will be held.
to which I will be held.
Further, I swear
Further, I swear
to well and faithfully discharge
to well and faithfully discharge
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
upon which I am about to enter,
upon which I am about to enter,
while representing my constituency
while representing my constituency
and the University of Maine.
and the University of Maine.
Congratulations. Seeing nothing for club maintenance or club presentation, we'll move on to our guest speaker, Dominique Despirito, the chair of the Bangor Out of the Darkness Walk, I believe.
Yeah.
All right.
I just realized for Zoom, should I be over there or like over here?
Right here. Yeah.
Okay, right here, today. Great. Hello, everybody. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Dominique Despirito. I am an alum from the class of 2022. I think I was actually in Senate with you, which is exciting. This is the last class that I went to school with. It's disgusting. Having commencement. So I graduated in 22. I am a volunteer with the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. AFSP is a national nonprofit that has chapters in all states and Puerto Rico. AFSP's mission is to save lives and bring hope to those affected by suicide. I'm a board member on the Maine chapter and the chair of the Bangor Out of the Darkness Walk. So if you see anything in the Bangor area with the AFSP logo, hit me. So I have been a volunteer with AFSP for 5 years now. I got involved with them when I saw a flyer for what they call International Survivors of Suicide Loss Day on my dorm hall in Penobscot. I was a freshman from out of state. There were a lot of scary things going on, but I was also navigating a grief journey. I had lost my dad to suicide in 2015. And that poster and that program was the first time I really got connected to resources that helped. That program is co-hosted by yours truly every November, and it provides support for folks like myself who have lost somebody to suicide. I know you're all aware that suicide touches this campus. It's an epidemic that's not theoretical, not hundreds of thousands of miles away. People we love struggle with suicidal ideation. People we love have lost somebody to suicide. And it's a very serious topic. AFSP in the Bangor area tackles that a couple different ways. So AFSP on a national level is the largest private funder of suicide prevention research. So they're actually doing research on what works and what doesn't work. How do we get people to access mental health resources? How do we put time and distance between someone who's considering suicide and what might end up taking their life? All of that amazing stuff. I am also trained through AFSP to be a Talk Saves Lives presenter. So those of you who work at the University of Maine, have clubs, maybe student government themselves, if you're interested in a workshop like that, it is a very clear, concise 30-minute workshop that talks about how we can understand suicide, breaking down some of the stigmas, and then really approachable and digestible ways to make a difference. As someone who has this issue has always been near and dear to my heart, but like theoretically, I want to prevent suicide, but how does one do that? I walked away from getting trained on that presentation feeling like I actually could do something if somebody was in crisis. So I put a pamphlet for that Talk Saves Lives program on that table. I only have a few. Memphis has my email, so if you have questions or want to know more, you can always follow up with me. That is like the 50,000 level view. But I'm going to be frank with you. Why did I come to student government today? Because I need volunteers. I need people to come to my programs. So you may or may not be aware that this week is National Suicide Prevention Week. Last year was my first year chairing the Bangor Out of the Darkness Walk, and we broke all previous records. We had 600 walkers and we raised 45 grand. Thank you. This year we're hoping to smash that, and UMA students are a big way to do that. So bear with me, I'm gonna go through all the ways that you can help. I put a lot of flyers on that table, so feel free to take some. So if you haven't loaded yourself up with pizza, tonight is our Chipotle fundraiser from 5 to 9. Or maybe you are stuffed, but you want to get lunch for tomorrow. I only have one of these flyers, so please don't take this flyer. I will put this on the table after. But if you take a picture and show this to them on your phone, 25% of your sale goes to support AFSP. So pretty easy way to get involved. And there's also an order ahead code. So if you don't want to talk to a human, which I completely understand, you can use that code to order ahead and just pick it up. Anytime before 9 p.m. today. Then, if you're not sick of pizza, I'm going to be hanging out in the co-room of the Memorial Union this Thursday from 4 to 7 p.m. with some Pat's Pizza. I'll have 3 pies, first comes, first served. I will also have raffle gift cards to the Nest, Taco Rita, Fam Dog, Ampersand, Rock and Art Shop, and a couple more. I have a gift basket from Golden Bee Cafe. If you register in front of me or show me that you are registered, I enter you into that raffle. There is more than one winner. So if you're free, please stop by 4 to 7 p.m. Those flyers are there. Then how many of you are 21 plus? Okay. How many of you love drag shows? Yeah, I need more enthusiasm. That's that. Come on. For those of you who know Carrie the One, they MC the student drag show in April. I've gotten them to MC along with 5 other drag queens. Six other drag queens, a drag show fundraiser on Friday. All proceeds go to AFSP. I'll be selling t-shirts, I'll be selling raffles, there'll be food and drink, it'll be a fun time. It is 21 plus and you will be carded at the door. So if you buy a ticket and you are not 21, thank you for your donation. But I hope you have something else to do on your Friday night. Those flyers are also on the table. So those are the events happening this week. And just going is great. And truthfully, I don't have time to put up those flyers. So if you do nothing else except for grab a flyer and put it up somewhere, somebody might see it. That makes a big difference too. But for those of you who might need volunteer hours or are just interested in volunteering, the walk itself is Saturday, September 21st. Registration opens at 9 a.m. We have a Zumba fundraiser at 10 a.m. and then the walk is like a mile loop, not even. It's really easy. It's a great program and it's really empowering to look out on a community that is there to make space for suicide prevention and not kind of hide from that topic. As I mentioned, I need volunteers because I'll be setting up tables, I'll be doing all that fun stuff. Anywhere from 7 to 12, 7 a.m. to 12 p.m., however much time people are willing to commit, I'd be happy for. So my email is on the bottom of that flyer. I know that was a lot. Thank you so much for trying to keep with that. I would love questions if anybody has them, but I just wanted to make that pitch because again, I don't know if I don't think I mentioned this. I sat in your seats for most of my 4 years here, and I know that you guys are the ones to talk to for community events, representing UMaine's values on campus and off campus. And I know that this is an important cause, so I want to get it from you. That's all I have.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions for the speaker? President Drew?
Just a few quick things before I forget. Number one, all of those flyers, please send to me in an email so I can put them up on our Instagram, or our director of communications can. And then for everybody who has Instagram in here, they're gonna go up on our Instagram, so we share them. And thank you for coming and being our first guest speaker, just straight out the gate.
It was an honor.
Any more questions for the speaker? Well, I don't really have I actually do have a question. So
Yes.
while us execs were cleaning and organizing our offices and dusting stuff off, we happened to find something that says Representative Despirito. Do you happen to know anything about that? My question is, what were you the representative of?
SAB, that was Amanda's position.
That's awesome. Well, if you want this.
That would be amazing.
Kind of
Nobody told me I had a sweatshirt.
The tag you wanted and everything.
Oh my goodness, thank you. I think of my life. I need to go to Chipotle wearing this tonight.
Our BPSC literally this morning, I was like, we were in the office, this Dylan, he was like, hey, I found this sweatshirt and it says Despirito, and I was like, that's weird. It's better today, so.
I wasn't aware they placed a merch order, but I am not complaining.
Yeah, well, any more questions for the speaker? Representative Levesque?
I was wondering, do you know when the talk that you're going to be doing in November is going to be? It's the Saturday before Thanksgiving. I'm doing one in Orono. Representative Levesque is referring to the International Survivors of Suicide Loss Day that I was talking about earlier. I'm doing the one in Orono again, Saturday before Thanksgiving, but I just had a partnership with the Eastern Maine Medical Center in Bangor, and I'll be doing one there as well for Bangor residents. well, not just for anyone who wants to come down to the hospital.
Okay, any more questions for the speaker? Seeing none, thank you so much again for coming.
Thank you.
Now we will move on to executive reports. Questions are open to non-members, and we are starting with the president of the University of Maine Student Government Inc.
All right, full title. Hi, guys. Welcome back. Super excited to see all of our returning faces and also the sea of new faces in the back. Hi, guys. That's super exciting. So I have kind of a long-winded report, as the first report usually is, so bear with me. I'm really looking forward to this year. The execs have been already working really hard in the office to get it kind of ready to go for the semester. I have a few updates on projects. Number one is the survey. If you were in the Google space from last year, you would have already gotten a copy of the survey, unless I only sent that to execs. I don't remember. Did I send a survey into the Senate space?
No.
If not, when Vice President Peterson makes one, you will get the copy of it. I intend to present on this at some point in a Senate meeting in the first couple of weeks. I've gone through and annotated a copy, and I think it would be a good thing. It really wouldn't take that long, and we're just going to go down through and I'm going to share some thoughts. There's some division-specific stuff. There's some representative-specific stuff, and also just general things that I think the Senate should take a moment to chew on, because it is the survey from, the feedback from our students. The next thing is club storage, which was kind of my big thing last year, as well as a big thing in my campaign. So where we're at with small storage, this week, lockers will be ordered. They're supposed to be ordered before this week, but there were logistical complications, and then they were supposed to be ordered today, but Pam wasn't here today, so they'll be ordered probably tomorrow. What that's gonna look like are 27 lockers in the Wade Center, which will hopefully alleviate some of that, burdensome of clubs and work storing. The stuff we bought them, which tends to end up under people's dorm beds, which just doesn't work for people. So I'm going to be working with Polypro and the VPSO to kind of come up with some sort of mechanism of distributing those, managing those. Large storage, this is kind of the bigger update. The university right now is in a space situation that isn't exactly forgiving. The space is just generally on this campus is being looked at, moved around, changed. Senator Shelmerdine would know this. She sat on our space committee last year. And it doesn't look like any sort of permanent solution is going to open, like any doors for that is going to open anytime soon for building, especially too, considering UMSG's budget going into this year, which will be a conversation in a little bit. So what we have been doing is for roughly $1,400 a year, we have been storing MOC, the Maine Outing Club, one of our biggest clubs with the most gear. We've been storing their things in a storage unit off campus, right off campus, which is a pretty cost-effective way. So in terms of that project, I look forward to possibly expanding on that, looking at how we can set up other clubs in the system for the meantime, because it's still storage is still a huge issue on this, and I don't want to wait until we have a permanent solution. So I'll be updating you guys on that as I move forward with that. Another big thing is office changes. I'm going to let VP Peterson kind of talk about this, but we've been really going through the UMSG offices. It is full of stuff, a lot of old technology and club and org things. And I specifically would like to talk to Wildsign and chat tonight, as well as if anybody has any contacts for FEMC or kind of what's going on with that organization. I found a lot of stuff, really cool stuff in the offices, and I would like to look into potentially archiving it or moving it or putting it somewhere that isn't just at the bottom, because a lot of it is your club's and org's history, and I think it would be cool to at least find a place to display it. We have some really cool photo albums from coming out days. We have some old documents from Shaq. Would just be cool to think, get them from out from under a bunch of trash, to be frank. So we'll have that conversation soon. And then in about 2 weeks, and the execs are finding this out right now, other than Vice President Peterson, in 2 weeks, I'm going to expect each executive to come to Senate in their report and outline their goals for the year, at least a few of them. I think this was a precedent that was set by our last president, Michael DeLorge. I think it's a good one to kind of give us sights and goals for the year, especially as we're setting up and kind of learning the ropes. So everybody heard that in about 2 weeks. I expect that. And then I have a few other updates. Number one, the org fair was awesome. I hope everybody got a chance to stop by. It was so much energy and so much fun. I loved seeing some of your orgs there, and it looked like you guys were getting just as much, kind of an increased involvement like we were. We're already seeing a huge influx of applicants. Hey guys, which is really, really awesome to see. As well as I've been meeting periodically over the summer on the housing and steering committee. I'll be updating on that in a few weeks. We're gonna have another meeting. It's really hasn't been a lot of major updates. We've just kind of been discussing what kind of housing students might want to see and very beginning stuff, but I will have like kind of more comprehensive update on that soon. And then cabinet. For everybody who's in cabinet, please stay after for a little bit. That's anybody who's a rep and an exec. I will be appointing cabinet senators in a few weeks when chairs go up. So senators, don't worry about it just yet. But we need to find a time for cabinet, and it is increasingly looking like another early morning unless we all can make it work otherwise. So we'll see. And then finally, this is something that isn't specific to my position, but I figured it would be the topic of the night, which is the housing situation on campus. So I thought I would give everybody just a quick rundown of what I've learned, just so everybody's on the same page. Currently, there are 23 rooms that are tripled, which is 69 students in triples. They have students in temporary lounges in Androscoggin, Cumberland, Gannett, Hancock, Hart, Knox, Oxford, Somerset, and York Hall that are totaling 109 students. There are 10 undergrads currently housed at Hotel Ursa, which is a temporary placement. They have 20 undergraduates permanently housed at Orchid Trails, which the way that works, I guess, is that they're paying the rate that they would for housing, but they're being provided, or UMaine is paying the difference for the apartment at OP, which I think is actually cheaper, but don't quote me on that. And then they will be staying there the whole academic year, says Dick Young. So that's kind of their permanent, and they're technically counted as housed by UMaine. So kind of an interesting setup. And then 8 students are waiting for a space on campus, period, that have not been assigned. And then from getting a little bit of a perspective from ResLife, I got an interesting response. They're saying that they're not seeing any influx of roommate disagreements or change requests specific to the quads and triples. In fact, they've gotten requests from students who want to stay in triples and quads, which they have said that they would try to accommodate, but their first priority is going to be reopening the lounge spaces on each floor. But I just thought that was an interesting thing to chew on. And that is the end of my report. Thank you guys for bearing with me.
Thank you. So next is the Vice President report. Good evening, everyone, and welcome back. I hope you all enjoyed your summer and are excited for a new school year, just like I am. For those that are new, especially all of our observing student leaders in the back, my name is Memphis Peterson. I'm the sitting Vice President. So if you are observing the meeting, after I adjourn, don't hesitate to come up here and I'll sign off for you, and you'll be one step closer to being a senator. And we were going to have Senate last week, but we made a very, very last minute decision of not doing that because I'm super tired, and I figured all of you would be super tired as well. All of the execs, as President Tripp mentioned, have been super busy rearranging the office, setting up their workspaces, organizing materials, making sure that everything in there is where it belongs. There's a lot of club property that was stored in the office that we're keeping as organized as possible, making sure everybody gets what belongs to them, obviously. I've been reaching out to various leaders of our community to invite them to Senate to give presentations. Some of you reached out to me, just like Dominique DeSpirito did, thankfully. And if you do have any suggestions on leaders that you want, in 2 weeks, Dr. Sabrina DeTurk from the Honors College said that she'd like to come speak on something called the re-envisionment process. I've also sent emails to the new Chief of Staff, Michelle Roberts, just to give an introduction. Pat Stone, Matt Legault, and Dick Young, I also invited, and they said yes. And there was one more person. Oh, and Ian, they'll also be here at the end. So like I said, if you do have any suggestions, if there's any topics that you would like elaboration on from higher graphs within the UMaine system, don't hesitate to let me know and figure out to get them. So tonight is, since we didn't do Senate last week, this is going to be the first round of nominations for positions and chairships. Ex officio positions can be taken up either by senators or representatives, while chairships are only taken up by senators, unless explicitly stated otherwise in their governing docs. If you are an aspiring senator and wants to pursue a position, fret not. we will have a second round of nominations and elections at our next meeting. Unless there is a crazy influx of senators who show up, then something that we're kind of finding by year is, along with the super big influx of population and student engagement here on the campus, is the conversation about Senate seats and what happens what would constitute a Senate election. That's a conversation that I'm going to have with our FEPC chair very soon. So, what else? My biggest project this year, speaking of which, is by the end of the semester, I'm going to pass through a resolution that reallocates the Senate seats if necessary, so that they more accurately reflect the student count on campus. Because I know that some of the Senate seats are very small, there's only 2 or 3 of them, while other colleges have like 8. So I am going to be reevaluating to make sure that it's as fairly deliberated as possible. And anybody who has any ideas on that or any suggestions, please get in touch with me. And I'm very excited to work with everyone here this year, and I'm excited to see what you all accomplish as student leaders. Next, we have the Vice President for Financial Affairs.
Alright, hello everyone. My name is Oliver Boyce, for those of you who have not met me, as this is my first year part of the student senate, the UMSG. And my report is going to be very short today, as EVC did not meet last week as there was no funding request from any on campus. So what I've been up to recently has been a lot of catch-up work. Most of it has been account reconciliations for the month of May and all the summer months. But now with those out of the way, all we have is our unallocated, which the unallocated that is starting off this year is going to be $71,427.20. For those of you who were part of this last year, the ending unallocated, you're going to see there's a $30,000 decrease. I added that in this year just because we were missing a bit of a buffer for all of those transfer students, for all of those last minute errors or those losses of the activity fee. So that is more of just a protection for us, so we don't end up overspending in the next foreseeable months until we get a more accurate image of what it is.
Thank you. Next, we have the Vice President for Student Organizations.
Hi guys. No club updates as we did not have SOC. SOC this semester will be on Wednesdays at 3:30. I do not know if we will be having SOC tomorrow. If we do, I would like people to be there, like you guys to be there, so we can actually have a forum. So if you are interested in temporarily being on SOC until we formally elect people, then please get in touch with me after the meeting. My office hours are on the calendar, and I also have a little book me link. I'm gonna drop that in the chat after the meeting, so you guys can book me if you want to meet with me. That's cool. Also, some of you may be aware that our club recognition process has been consolidated with what CSI does and moved over to campus groups. So this is a bit of a change, and that means that the information that's currently on our website does not accurately reflect what our recognition process is and how it goes. So if anyone comes to you like, hey, you're in student gov, how do I start a club? Then just have them meet, please, and I will explain to them.
Next, we have the Vice President for Student Entertainment.
Hello everyone, I'm Dylan, the BPSD. I wrote a long report, but it's too long, I think. Everyone else is a lot shorter than mine, so I think I'm gonna shorten mine down. I guess what I'm gonna say is, I worked a bit over the summer. We're gonna be switching formats a little bit from the one big show to multiple shows, and I worked over the summer to plan a fall show, which we'll be announcing hopefully soon-ish. I worked with Blackbird Cinema to get the tickets thing started up again. So Maine Wednesdays are going great and strong. And so tomorrow, I think the Beetlejuice movie's out or something. And that's about it. My office hours are also up on the board, and SEC meets Mondays 1 to 2 if you're interested. And the report.
Thank you. Next, we have the Vice President for Student Leadership.
Hi everyone, hopefully you all had a good summer. I just want to address this really briefly. For everyone who brought the email, I'm sorry about the error. It was a long week and we're all just undergraduate students running on caffeine. It will not happen again, but I'm also just saying this, so hopefully I stop getting emails about it. Now that that's out of the way, I'm excited to say we have a lot of interest in Senate this year. As many of you may have noticed, we have a lot of observers here today, which I'm very excited about. I'm hoping we can get a full Senate by the end of the year, if not by the end of this semester, maybe. So I've been very busy, getting new civic binders ready, and preparing for onboarding training. Speaking of which, the two of you that were just inducted, today at this meeting, I would like to meet with you within the next week or so. So if you can either email me to schedule something or like drop in at my office hours, just send me an email for you to drop in during my office hours, so I'm ready when you get there, for your onboarding. And then those of you that are missing game tags or missing binders, that should mostly just be rep boards. Please send me an email and I will hopefully get all of those things sorted out for our meeting next week. I'm meeting tomorrow, I think. I sent you an email, I don't know, yesterday, hopefully tomorrow with Senator Shelmerdine to talk about some ideas for garden spaces on campus. This is something I wanted to start, was thinking about working on last semester, and so I'm hoping to be able to make some progress on that this semester as kind of like my side project. So if you're interested in helping me with that, also feel free to reach out to me. Hopefully you had a good week. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Next, we have the advisor to student government.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lori Stadelko. I'm an associate dean upstairs in the student life office. It's lovely to see those of you who are returning. Some really sharp haircuts, really liking that. In addition to that, for those of you who are new, just so you know what the advisor of student government does, essentially, you'll hear me butting in occasionally to talk about, to help kind of bridge the gap between what goes on for the university or for student life and student government, because sometimes it's hard to understand how that all works together. So that's usually what it is that I do, but I'm also here just in general to help out. There's a lot of connections that I have that you might not know about, or connections you have that I might not know about, and it's good for us to kind of just let each other know what's going on. For example, I can probably help you with the garden project. That sounds really cool. In addition to that, I just wanted to quickly mention a couple of things. UMaine Vote is up and rolling, and UMaine Vote is a project that is campus-wide. It's been around for many, many years. Obviously, since it's a presidential election year, this is going to be a big year for that. So essentially, we have always worked with political activism group and to try and get students registered to vote, engaged in voting, and educated on voting. Our voting polls this year will be on campus again in CCA. If you live in the town of Warno and you see green cards around outside of the CSI office or anywhere else on campus, you can fill those out and register to vote. If you've moved in the past year, even if you're still in Warno, you were in Warno, you still have to re-register to vote. So that's something that you can do ahead of time up until October 14th. If you don't get it in by October 14th, there's going to be a little break, and then we're going to again allow you to do that on both election day, and we're going to do an early voting day on campus this year because we expect the polls to be overrun this year. So we're going to do on the 29th of October, we're going to do an early voting day on campus. So if you want to go to our temporary polls and vote early, you can do that to avoid the lines on election day. Probably a lot of other things I could tell you, but great to see your faces, and I'll sit down now.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the speakers? And questions are open to non-members, Senator members.
I have a comment. You can also register to vote online, so you don't have to leave your couch. You can't if you live in a dorm, but I'm working with Secretary Bellows on trying to fix that so that people in dorms can vote on and register online. They can vote. You can vote. You just can't register online because they don't like our address.
Any more questions, Senator Ricker?
Yeah, question for President. I realize this is outside the scope of Westlake and I think people like that. But is there any indication that like this doesn't usually happen, right? Like where the students into the
Yeah, so the general gist is that there's just generally been a housing shift on this campus. If you recall last year, one of the discussions we had in Senate was about Estherbrook, and that's conversion from a res hall into a office building. And on top of that as well, there's been a lot of dorms that have been shifted from typical, double dorms to single dorms. Hancock, for instance, I believe are all all single, someone correct me if I'm wrong.
Unless
Yeah.
somebody drops out on the.
Yeah, just put it in something when you're on the.
Okay.
Can.
So there's been a lot of housing shifts there. You actually, there was something I forgot, which I wanted to update, everyone about, which was their plan in regards to, kind of like reconciling these housing situations, which is, essentially what I was told, is that, the students affected by essentially some sort of temporary housing will be getting a 33% refund for their housing for however many nights they were there in a temporary situation. Does that make sense? So I think the general gist is that the reason that we're in this situation is twofold. One, there has been a spike in enrollment. Two, there's been a lot of just housing shifting and housing loss, I think, net. So, Lori?
Yeah, just to add on to that too, is that we also have a pretty significant housing melt that happens every year. People who come to school and then decide to leave within a day or two of each coming and going. So that's a pretty typical thing. So we have had triples and quads in the past, many times, in anticipation of that melt. This is a little bit worse this year for everything that President Tripp said. However, we are going to see some sort of shifting of housing for the next several years. Because in order to take residence halls offline to renovate them, we have to take some down and put some up, and we have to have some temporary housing options and things like that. So I think until we get all of our residence halls up to a state where they're top notch, then we're gonna see some sort of transition for housing for the next. But the outcome is ultimately very good because we're gonna have some upgrades, some significant upgrades.
Any more questions for the speaker, Senator DeBruno?
Okay, so I have a question, so I'll make sure like rapid fire and start to kind of keep like. The first one, the students that have no accommodations, as far as I know, what's that situation looking like, and are they like local to Bangor, and is that why they're not having any sort of accommodations, or what does that look like exactly?
I think what that looks like, and correct me if I'm wrong, are just simply students that have not been assigned housing. So I think they're just currently traveling to school?
Yeah, nobody has no accommodations. Nobody. Like everybody has an accommodation or has been offered an accommodation. The students who were moved over to URSA for a period of time are being placed. Everybody has an accommodation. So it was negotiated with every person to make sure that they had something and they were safe and they felt okay with it.
No, sorry, I did use correct terminology, I was referring to people who just like lived in Bangor, so I apologize about that. Second question, in terms of like the triples and quads, I remember, and please correct me if I'm wrong, when I came as a freshman, the DTAP and patch was used to house the extra people. Why was that not used for this time around? Fine.
Yeah, I think the issue is just that those two, like, it's across the board housing. I don't even think it's not just like a first year housing crisis. It's and not even a crisis at this point, but it's across the board from fourth year to first year, all housing is being currently strained. So I think that's why, like, it's not, I think if they had open units in those places, that would have been their first, jump. But it's also been increasingly popular, DTAB and patch, which has been an interesting shift as well when you consider kind of the off-campus housing. But that's a whole different thing we could spiral into.
Gotcha, okay, last question, you said there was issues with storage, and you said there was like not like any permanent solutions, what are the stopgaps they were like providing? If you could shed light on that.
Stopgaps?
Like, is there like a shift in, there was like boxes in this building, and then it's like the building's gonna be renovated in a month, so they're gonna move to this particular area, is that like one of the like solutions, like temporary solutions that they're having, or is that like different?
So there is just currently the UMaine doesn't currently supply general clubs. I believe that the rec center supplies some storage for sport clubs. But generally the university does not supply clubs with storage. So that was the issue going into last year was that there was none, right? So my goal was to create some. What I wanted to do was build some sort of on-campus. I was in talks with Lori all last year. We talked about some sort of trailer situation or buying like old, those like metal containers, right? And kind of fixing those up and putting them somewhere on campus. But what's being looked at right now is space on campus generally. So if we said, all right, we want to throw a bunch of storage containers, permanent storage containers over in York Village, which was a place that we're looking at. Well, in 3 years, we don't know what York Village is going to look like, and it could be entirely, bulldozed over and built something new, right? So I just don't think that it's a smart investment or an investment that UMSG can make right now for a permanent solution on campus, which is why I have proposed the small storage, which we can get to, which is the lockers, which will be in the Wade Center. So that's like smaller stuff, think clubs like Hammock Club that just needs to throw some hammocks in a plate, or Maine Gems who has stickers and boxes.
I haven't had a trunk to my car for 3 years.
Right. This actually started way back when I was a senator, and Senator Waters wasn't in student government. This was an issue that she brought to me. So, this has been an issue for a while. And so my solution for now is the off storage or off campus storage, because we know that's not going to be affected by the space changes. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's a temporary solution, but it can it's a pretty good solution for however long they need it.
Well, any other questions for the speakers? Senator May.
Yeah, for President real quick, I apologize if you mentioned this, but the lockers that you were talking about that are coming in. Is that budget from the president's discretion or is there an SOC budget?
Nope. So we allocated $5,000 last year to that, right at the end, which was like my club storage, and I intended to kind of solve this over the summer. What I didn't realize is that no, I actually have a different life in the summer, and I can't focus on student government all the time. So I didn't end up getting as much of it done as I wanted, but we already have the plans laid out. So it was about $5,000 that we allocated, and it is going to get out just straight up now. It's going to be pushed over that $5,000. I'm going to be covering the roughly $250 with my exec fund. So heads up on that.
Any other questions for the speaker? Senator Michoud.
A question for PP Law. You might have already mentioned it in your report, but with the influx of students, how has that affected our budget?
So I ended up cutting it down, which are you talking about the fact that we have a slightly cut down and allocated this year just in terms of not really knowing a set amount of what the students are gonna happen and what our attendance will be in the next few months. Around the Thanksgiving time, we'll have a more concrete and how many students will be staying. Which is why I pulled us back on our unallocated by the 30,000. I'm assuming that we're gonna be able to bump that unallocated back up, hopefully by next semester we'll have a more accurate one that'll be closer to the 100,000. So in terms of that, it'll probably be increasing, but just for now, more conservative.
Any more questions for the speakers? Yes.
It's just a request for the people all the way up there. I'm having a very hard time hearing you guys.
Will do, thank you. Any more questions for the speakers? See, Representative Briggs.
This is really a question for the speaker, but I wonder if we could turn off the air conditioning that's making noise right behind you.
Oh, is there an air conditioner blowing in the back of your head?
Yeah.
Turn it off if you want. If it's not too cold, I don't know.
I feel like it's not too hot out. It's not my deep part.
Okay.
Yeah, hopefully that'll help.
Good, okay, any other questions for the speakers? Seeing none, we will now move on to periodic reports. On your agendas, you'll notice that most of these are listed as vacant. So if you just so happen to have the report for these positions, feel free to speak in. First is the faculty senate. Yes, President Burke.
Also, while we go down these, if you've held this position, please give a little bit of a detail about it to kind of inform our later nominations. For those of you who have been in Senate, we've done this before. So if you've ever held this position, raise your hand and give a quick rundown of what you did in it and what it entails.
I mean, we were going to do that when we got them.
Okay, well.
Okay, anybody have the report for the faculty senate student representative? Seeing none, the University of Maine Board of Trustees student representative.
Hello. I have sort of a long report, but that is because there was a board meeting this summer. I uploaded my notes to the drive. For everyone who doesn't know, in like the UMSG drive, there's also a Board of Trustees drive where I upload all of my notes from board meetings and like committee meetings with the board. There were a lot of citizen comments at the meeting, which was in Orono. A lot of them were from the grad student union, predominantly talking about the safety of their labs. Like none of them have a first aid kit that's newer than like 20 years old.
And so a lot of people came to talk about that, which is notable. There was also an AI presentation for the first hour of the board meeting, which ended with a discussion of purchasing like the newest version of Chat GPT for all students. I haven't heard anything more about that, but they did talk about it, so I thought, I don't know, that was kind of interesting. The UMaine Orono launched their satellite cubes this summer, which is kind of cool. We have a new partnership with the Department of Agriculture for like the majors related to agriculture. And then sort of alongside the housing situation, matriculation is 750 students higher than predicted. The student trustee situation that was going on in the spring where the candidates didn't get approved. This summer, the board reps, the student reps got together to figure out a way to nominate candidates in case there's a special session. And so we have names submitted to the governor's office by September. So if any of you saw the message in the Senate space, I think about that, Senator Waters and Representative Guzman helped President Tripp and myself to conduct interviews for the Orono candidates that applied to that position. You probably saw the application on our Instagram. And we got a lot of applicants. There were like 11, a lot, which was kind of cool. And then the committee that did the final selection to submit names was all of the student reps and all of the student body presidents. They have supposed to tell you like who the final candidates are, but they were selected and they were accepted by the governor's office. So hopefully, if there's a special session, their names will be submitted. That's kind of cool. Then there's an upcoming board meeting on Sunday and Monday, which I can't attend because I'm, I guess, not allowed to like make up my first lab that's on Monday, so I mostly can't go. I reached out about a proxy and I haven't really got an answer, so I think it's kind of too late to get a proxy, but I'm gonna watch the recording and get notes from the other reps on their like morning meeting. And then my office hour is Wednesdays from 11 to 12, if you want to talk about anything. End of report.
Thank you. Next is the chair of the fair election practices.
Okay, hi everyone, my name is Zoe. I'm the FEPC, so I will be handling and organizing all of the elections, and possibly senator elections. I don't have a ton to say. My office hours are Tuesday and Wednesday mornings. They're on the board, they're kind of early. But I'm also generally usually available over email or our Google chat thing that will happen soon. So please email me, contact me, stop into my office hours whenever. If you have any questions, ideas, or just want to chat, I'll take it all. I'm super excited to work with you all. I do have a committee this year. I will need some people on it. But I'll talk more on that later once we get some more details ironed out. So yeah, any report.
Thank you. Does anybody have the report for the student legal representative?
We do the same, really, we talk about positions.
We'll do that later. Next is the representative to the graduate student senate. Does anyone have that? Seeing none, Orono Town Council. Old Town City Council. Representative of Military and Veteran Student Affairs.
I apologize, I did not submit a report for local summer. I did come back to Orono for Memorial Day, and I did with the help of Mike Smart and a couple other volunteers, we helped place around 700 flags on the Veterans Day.
Director of Communications.
All right, hi, I'm Abby. I'm the new Director of Communications. So far I've just posted a little bit on the Instagram. I'm scheduling some headshots, planning out some projects for the year. I'm gonna get on the YouTube pretty soon. I'll be editing this Senate meeting to put on the YouTube, so yeah, that's about it.
Director of Technology.
Alrighty, howdy y'all. Okay, so hope you had a great summer. I don't have a life, so I just did work casually. So what did I do since our last Senate meeting, so many months ago? I've updated our about page. It really just looks prettier, nothing crazy. I've got President Strip's newly updated club handbook guide on there, created new thumbnails for last spring's YouTube videos, finished uploading all those. So if there are any senators or prospective senators way in the back who want to watch any, they are there. You can check them out if you want to get more of a vibe of how Senate meetings go usually. Or if any of you fellow senators would like to just check out and remind yourselves of things that have happened last semester, you absolutely can. I'm very excited to hand over the YouTube to our lovely DLC. She is going to do amazing. I'm already excited. And with that, let's see. These past couple of weeks, been doing a lot of troubleshooting with people's computers. I think almost every executive, so that's perks, bonus points to me. I'm giving myself that. As well as cleaning the office with the rest of them as well, and let's just say we have done a lot of cleaning. And lastly, hopefully starting this week, I'll be creating a things new DOTs should know on week 1 guide to prepare for my future replacement for the next academic year. Just whereas it's all fresh right now, you should probably remember these things by writing it down. So that is about it. Oh, and lastly, if any of you need to get the UMSG calendar to see office hours and all that stuff, feel free to reach out, but you should all mostly have a link, and new senators, whenever they have our new list, you'll definitely get a link soon. And any future senators will also get a link immediately, but that should be on our website, hopefully by end of day tomorrow. So, end of report.
Thank you. Does anybody have a report for the University of Maine Security Representative? I know there's a couple of us that sit on that committee, so for various reasons, there was a meeting yesterday, I believe. I didn't attend. Center for the Undergraduate Research. Report. Are there any questions for the speakers?
I just have, if it's okay with everyone, if I could get a group photo after this, just forgot to say that, but.
I have a question for the Director of Communications. Do you want the photo to be during our recess, or do you want to wait until we adjourn?
Well, we've never been to a Senate meeting, I don't know what's going to be. When?
We'll probably do it during our recess.
We'll figure that out.
Any more questions? Senator Ricker.
Question for Director of Communications. Should the photo be when all of the senators are actually in student government in this show? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, are you gonna DE next? We are gonna take a lot of photos. I think this is just like a first week photo, to be very clear. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any more questions for the speakers? Seeing none, we will move on to the reports of standing committees, starting with marketing and public relations.
I have no report.
Membership.
I don't want to waste anyone's time, but if everyone would just do me a massive favor and just wave hi to Pam real quick for me, for a quick second, that'd be great. Okay, awesome. Yep, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Policy and procedure, at the very end of last year, there was a resolution that was tabled regarding renewing the mental health special committee that has been added to tonight's agenda under unfinished business, where we're going to at least discuss and gauge interest on if people want to renew it this year. If not, it dies and it's no longer on our agenda, but if people are interested, we'll go from there. Next, we have political activism. Anyone go report?
But there's a presidential debate tonight and watch it because it's good to be an informed voter.
Thank you. Services.
Oh, yes. So, remember last semester, services ended off by allocating money to a program that would give $15 off for every Concord Coach bus line ride. Concord Coach line goes through Orono or University of Maine literally every single day. And during the summer, we got the codes from them, and right now parking and transportation services will be giving out The certificates are in the current process of printing them out. And this is just my pitch right now. On top of this, starting October 1, for everyone here, everyone in the back, every UMaine undergrad student can get $15 off for a Concord Coach Line trip. And it's only a one-time thing. It's every month, so you can go for all the breaks. Maybe 1 month there's no trip you want to go home for, we can go then. Or even in the winter, if hockey we go to Boston again, $15 off the trip there. Yeah, I don't know, driving Boston's not really fun. So many great ways to use it. Tell everyone, like I said, it's not just a one-time thing. You get one per month, so you can take plenty of trips throughout the year. For undergrad students, tell everyone. So October 1.
Thank you. Academic affairs, and that's no longer a special committee, that is a standing committee. It should have been in the first place.
You're still hot?
Yeah, right.
Cool. What am I up to? Over the summer, I did not do much. I'm gonna be, along with Senator Ricker, doing the academic catalog review that goes through the entire year. And I'm really excited, so I might not hand it off to whoever takes academic affairs next. But basically, all of the policies about like changing your major, pass, fail, taking classes, and just everything that has to do with the academic catalog is getting revised and looked over. And we have students doing that, which is cool. And I'm also investigating a NAC tutoring problem. If you sign up for NAC tutoring, and I found this out the hard way, you have to do a 2-hour training, and it says you'll get paid for the training when someone signs up to tutor you first, but you have to do the 2 hours even if no one signs up to tutor with you. So, and then you don't get paid unless someone signs up to tutor with you. And I think that we should make sure that students are still getting paid even if no one signs up to tutor with them for those 2 hours that they put into learning how to be a tutor. So, I'm gonna fix that.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the speakers? President.
I don't have a question, but for just the general vibe of the academic affairs this year, committee this year, this is officially the time where we're going to be moving the syllabus bank project from a mostly behind the scenes exec thing into that committee. So get excited about that.
Any other questions? Going once, going twice. We are now moving on to the reports of special committees. Does anybody have a report on student mental health committee? No, okay. Next, we have the undergraduate student symposium committee. No report. Okay. And food and dining affairs committee.
Wells is open now, Starbucks is open now, Hilltop Market is now a pickup area. If you're over 21, please let me know if the Wells pub is good. Thank you.
Any questions for the speakers? Seeing none. Oh, go ahead.
Not a question, more like a comment. Senator Fang, it is really good, trust me.
Any more questions for the speakers? Seeing none, we will move on to representative board reports, starting with commuter and non-traditional students.
I haven't read it yet though, so it might be sloppy. All right. Oh my gosh, bullets. This week, CAMS made significant strides in organizing our operations and contacting other commuters and non-traditional students within the University of Maine community. Below are the highlights and plans. First Friday Bagels event. We hosted our first Friday Bagels event, which saw substantial turnout. This event was a great success in terms of both attendance and engagement. Communication of positional duties. We have successfully communicated and clarified the positional duties of the newly elected executive board members. This ensures that each member knows their responsibilities and can effectively contribute to the organization's goals. President and representative position separation. It has been established that the presidential position could be separated from the CAMS representative position. This change aims to streamline our leadership structure and allow for more focused roles within the organization. All file organization. All previous files have been organized to facilitate easier access and future use. This will help in maintaining a clear record of past activities and decisions, including overall efficiency. Outreach efforts. We tabled to reach out to other commuters and non-traditional students, aiming to increase awareness about CANS and encourage more involvement in our initiatives. Upcoming plans. Amendment of the CANS Constitution. We plan to amend the CANS Constitution to reflect recent changes and improve the governance of the organization. Planning our first club meeting. Our first club meeting of the semester will be planned to kick off our activities and engage with members. Semester schedule planning. We will be working on planning the semester schedule for CANS to the best of our ability. This includes organizing events, meetings, and other activities to ensure a productive and engaging semester for all members. End of report.
Thank you. Honors College Student Activities School.
Hello, everyone. I hope everybody had a good summer, was safe, and was able to get a lot of rest. We are hitting the ground running with the May Day meal pack out. We are starting very early doing fundraising for the event so that we are not scrambling like we were in January of last year. Even though it went very well and very successful, we are hitting the ground running. We are meeting next week at some point. The Honors College has also gotten very busy. There's been a lot of turnover with professors. There are currently 2 new professors, both of whom are teaching classes already, which is great. The Honors College also did an event on the first day of classes, which was first day donuts, which went very well. I was unable to attend because it was at 8 in the morning and I did not want to get up that early on Tuesday. So I didn't. Other than that, SAB is going to be meeting on Thursdays at 6:30. So if anybody is interested in showing up, whether you are in the Honors College or not, we would love to have that community engagement. And we're also working with the MBS Corps to do the March Against Domestic Violence, which is on October 17th this year. And that is the end of my report.
Thank you. Does anybody have the reports for IFC and/or PANHEL? Seeing none, we'll move on to the Senior Class Council. Oh, I'm so sorry.
I see the PANHEL Council the report for that.
Okay, if you want to read it, you can.
We didn't receive it, so if you want to read it off.
There is one. It says we start recruitment on Thursday to Sunday this week. We've got 160 new members going through recruitment and couldn't be more excited to see where they go. We're planning a philanthropy event for PANHEL and IFC. More details to come soon. Jacob and I couldn't make the meeting today because of all the Greek meeting to go over Great Red.
Thank you. Now we move on to Senior Class Council.
I have on the board.
Right. Student Athletic Advisory Council.
So I believe 9/14, football has a game against Monmouth University. I'll be working that game for fundraising. First SAC leadership meeting is this Wednesday, so like tomorrow, I think at 5 p.m. And then the general SAC meeting is, I believe, next Wednesday. So if you're a student athlete and you want to like get involved, come by. It's in the Alpha. Other than that, nothing else.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the speakers? President Drew.
A question for Representative Tanaka about the off season and kind of the kind of dual president situation. I'm just curious on are you going to be this semester as well?
Yeah. So like my season's a winter sport, so like I'll basically be in season from now till February. And after February, I'm more soon. And then I'll have like more free time. So
perfect. So you'll be remaining the rep for this semester into next. Awesome. Glad to have you back.
Any other questions for the speaker, Vice President Rocky?
Senator Wise, has CANS chosen a representative?
They have not, and the president couldn't be here because they're taking a class.
Right, yeah.
Any other questions, Representative Burton?
For the not present CANS president, the plants are so fun.
They don't know where they came from.
Oh.
I just where they came from.
I
No, it was Brittany McPhee. She's the person who's in charge of community and non-traditional students for student life. And she wants to make it as homey and beautiful as she can, so we got plans.
When they first arrived, I was like, man, those are gonna die. There are no windows here.
They're thriving.
Wow, that's cool.
No, we walked in, me and Cam's president walked in together, and I was like, oh my gosh, you put these in, she goes, no, I didn't.
Any other questions for the speakers? Seeing none, we'll move on to community association reports, starting with the Student Heritage Alliance.
Hello, everybody. My name is John Guzman. I'm happy to be here, happy to be back. I hope you all had a great summer. I'm gonna keep this report short and sweet until next week, where it'll probably be a lot longer. Shack is having our first meeting this Thursday from 5 to 7. Most likely in the senior schools room. Shack meetings are always open. But you know, they're a lot kind of like these meetings. We have a lot to discuss, a lot to talk about. But this semester, Shack plans to go into full motion, with the funding, you know, allocated to student government, but also, we got some additional funding from the hand grant for events, this semester. So I'm excited to talk about that with the board and give you more details on that. One is gonna be in collaboration with the Maine Business School, where it's essentially gonna be a panel where we're gonna have guest speakers, who identify as BIPOC come, potentially. The second is gonna be in collaboration with the local plant shop, mainly succulents. So I've been meeting with Lauren, the owner of Mainly Succulents, to discuss what that could look like this semester and, you know, a timeline for that. The third one being, you know, the biggest event of the semester for us, which is the Friends and Family Feast, which we're gonna do in collaboration again with ODI and potentially Student Life. So tying that whole thing in, and then the fourth one being an interesting one, which I think you're all gonna enjoy, which is a pop-up kitchen concept. That I'm gonna have fun kind of messing around with and seeing where those avenues can lead into and of report.
Feminist Collective. Seeing none, Wildstein.
Hi, everyone. Sorry. I don't have much of a report because we haven't had our first meeting yet, which will be this Friday from 3 to 4:30 p.m. In the MSC. But I have a couple things in the works, just not reaching fruition enough to me to say anything on. This isn't part of my report, but can we fix the typo with my last name?
Yes, you can.
We saw that this morning after it printed and we were like, this, we don't even know how this happened. So, yes.
I genuinely don't. But yeah, end report.
Thank you. International Student Association.
Hi, virtually.
Go ahead. Would you mind introducing yourself as well?
Yes. Hi, everyone. My name is Kaidan White. I'm from California. I'm the president of the International Student Association. I'm very excited to work with everyone. I'm happy to be here. Our secretary was employed to represent the ISA during International Student Association orientation in August, and we welcome a large number of international students to candidates from many different countries. And full 2024 undergraduate student population is around 250 students. And our first copy out last Friday was a huge success with 60 people. And we had our first meeting yesterday, and we discussed the roles and our visions overall and plans for the next couple of hours. And this year we're also having graduate liaisons in the team with the board. And our next coffee hour will feature a welcome from MA President Joan Ferry. And we're planning to host the president of the each whole semester every coffee hour. And also, we're at campus groups, and we're planning to launch a campaign to get every single member of ISA to campus groups. And also, this Culture Fest will be held on November 2nd at Rec Center, and it's an annual event where people learn about different cultures, international students, and they can try out some international music. And we'll spend much of September and October raising funds for this event and recruiting participants. And also, we'll be looking for judges for the food court and the exhibit area, so if anyone's interested, you can contact us.
Thank you. Are there any questions for the speakers? Senator Bone?
This is for Representative Guzman, just about the inclusion of SAM in SHAC. I know that SAM isn't really recognized by student organizations. I think it has too many graduate students in the Bloodwood to count as an undergraduate organization, but I know that they are on SHAC. You have any comments on that?
Yeah, so when it comes to organizations that have a big graduate population in terms of that, what we do is that funding from student government doesn't apply to them, but they still sit on the board. Because essentially SHAC is an advisory board for all these multicultural organizations. So I know there's the Nepali student organization, which I hope to include in SHAC as well. But unfortunately, because due to our policies, by that big population, they do want funding and have to reach out to the graduate student senate. So I'm gonna keep it like that, and I feel like that's fair for everyone. But they're also included in the conversation of what's going on, current events on campus with the different organizations.
Thank you. Any other questions for the speakers? Seeing none, if it's the pleasure of the Senate, we will move into a 5-minute recess. And calling the meeting back to order, there is nothing on the consent agenda. So we are going to move to unfinished business, which is the Student Mental Health Committee status. So just a little briefing on what the situation is here. As Public Pro Chair last semester, I kind of assigned all of the special committee chairs to write out their resolutions on whether or not we want to renew the special committee, or if they ended up upgrading the standing committee. And I never got anything regarding the mental health committee. So we all, as a Senate, voted to table it until, we did table it until the second meeting, but I'm bringing it back to the table. So it's more of a short discussion to gauge interest on what do we want to do with this special? It's been on the agenda literally every year I've been here. Not a whole lot has come of it, especially it just keeps swapping hands. I'll start with President Tripp.
Okay, so what I do know is recently, just kind of as an aside, Chancellor Malloy allocated, I think it was 500,000 to mental health resources across the system. It was a big allocation, big deal. And a lot of that, it was very exciting. Oh goodness, I can't think of her name right now, who runs the counseling center. Angela. I know that Angela has been putting a lot of work into setting up a mental health task force with the president's office, as well as some sort of student group that can kind of mend the gap between the counseling center and the student body. So I think that, like Vice President Peterson said in the past, it has been swapping hands, but I think that this year is a good year if somebody in the Senate really wants to take it. There is like infrastructure kind of being developed across the the campus, in several offices that there is actually, because before it was kind of like there was no resources and you kind of had to figure it out on your own. I think that there would be some support on the administrative side for a revival of this. And that is just what I'm going to preface this with. It is up to the Senate.
Any other points for discussion? Representative Guzman.
Yeah, to add on to what President Tripp was saying, when I was fulfilling that role, when I was a senator, there wasn't really a foundation laid for what to do in terms of the job requirements. And so it's definitely lining out what those job requirements are gonna be for that senator. But in addition to that, like President Tripp said, there is gonna be a foundation kind of created on campus for what this position can be a part of, but then there are also the additional resources which do provide an outlet for students like Swell and Title IX, and then like the Wilson Center, who also does their own initiatives. So I think it's gonna be unique to see how this crafts if it does end up staying in committee.
Advisor Sadoko?
I don't necessarily have an opinion on whether it should be a committee or shouldn't be a committee, but just to give you a little bit of history, this committee was developed when the counseling center was really kind of was struggling. There was a waiting list, very long waiting list for students to get in. Our resources weren't as good as they are now. Now we don't have a waiting list. We have accessibility all the time. We have emergency appointments. We have things like that. So I mean, I think having a student mental health committee, if it has a strong purpose and it has a direction, is a great thing. But I also think that if we have been struggling for a long time with it and we maybe don't need it, then we don't need it. So, I mean, that's kind of both sides of that, but just my thoughts.
Any other discussion on that? Senator Waters?
I could see a potential rebrand with it, since there's student mental health, student wellness. So like it has mental health, but it can also have other things that involve wellness. Like Swell does all wellness on campus. They do sexual wellness and mental wellness, and then just like other types of wellness. So we could rebrand it if mental health seems like it's too confining for it, we could rebrand it to make it a little bit even bigger, if that makes sense. Bigger, better.
Representative Levesque. Any other, Senator Martin?
I would like to see what some of our new senators might have to go at this, get some new fresh ideas. Seems like it's been, as you said, passed around, so maybe they'll have some new ideas.
Any other discussion on the matter? Vice President Oldfield.
I also feel like we just had a really amazing speaker tonight. That is a great resource if one of our new senators or an old senator who maybe wants to tackle different tasks this semester, to reach out to her work with. She seems like she's very excited to be here and that it would be an amazing resource. So I think maybe there is a place for it still. We just need someone who's passionate about it.
Any other discussion?
I'm a new senator, so I don't really know the history or the backstory or necessarily what the issue with this committee is or what we're questioning. So as a new senator, I'd love to know more, and I am definitely trying to get involved and be in certain committees and whatnot. So yeah, I'd love to talk to maybe even other senators that are interested, and maybe we can team up and talk about it.
Senator Gillen, right? Thank you. Senator Demerjen.
Yeah, so just aside from aside from being the fact that I was here last semester and witnessed some of the problems, at least I can speak on my own sort of personal experience with getting counseling. I've gone through crisis counseling, also tried to get through to this regular counseling. I've seen there has been it's been a great resource and I was very happy to have it provided to me. Otherwise it would be completely different directory as at this point. But at the same time, there are it's been hard to get an appointment in at least in recent years. The last time I tried, it was 2.5 months, almost 3 months in advance. And that was at the start of last semester. So me personally, I feel like this is a community that should still stay around. Especially just given the fact that college is stressful and so many things are going on. That this sort of resource should be provided to people who may not know what's going on or don't know where to turn to. So.
Any other discussion on the matter, President Trick?
Just to give kind of a direction for this, because I tend to agree with the individual who talked about potentially waiting for all the faces in the back to potentially join this table before we do make a delineation on this. We can always table it and kick it down the road a few weeks again. So,
Senator Ricker. After there's clearly no more discussion, sure, because I do have an aside for it. Senator Baum.
This is a question direction. Peterson. Sorry. If this was to come around the table again, would it still be a position that can be voted on, or is it still in limbo?
It would still be in limbo. I will say, part of what my side is that there is a resolution that I have started typing up in case people did want to revive it at least. It's a pretty bare bones exact template of just what entails a special committee. And so if this goes the way that I think that it's going and people do want to keep this an ongoing project with student government, feel free to reach out to me. I have already had a couple individual conversations with people, but just so you know, there is an effort to be made. We're not really rebuilding. Senator Payne.
Question for VP Peterson. Say that we wanted to do Senator Waters' idea or something similar where we had a rebrand or expanded it. Would right now, let's have that right now, bringing this committee back, the special committee, make that process harder down the line?
So what I don't know why I have a brain fart completely spaceless, but the resolution idea, with it being tabled, if somebody wanted to completely create a new special committee, which that does sound like, it would have to wait until there's a polypro and go through that whole process. Even what I'm doing of just the bare bones special committee would probably also have to go through polypro. So it would be a couple of weeks down the line.
Sure. I guess just say we table it and wait for polypro whenever we go through that process versus we pass it and then later polypro. Would it be more difficult to do that later?
No, it'd just kind of be the same thing. We would just kind of decide what we're gonna do and do it. So we would either bring back the resolution that Vice President Peterson wrote last year, or we write a new one. It would just kind of be, like, it wouldn't make it easier or harder. Because a tabling is just kind of it sitting there anyway, like it doesn't inhibit the creation of or the bringing back. It could all be done in one meeting. Like all things can be done in a meeting, so it doesn't make it faster or slower. Does that make sense?
Sort of, sorry, I don't mean to be taking so much. No, it's not like if we didn't table, let's say Senate passes it tonight to go forward to Poly-Pro and move forward with passing it. Then later down the line, if we want to change it, would it be difficult or like a hindrance because we had already passed just mental health as it is right now?
No, the resolution would just have to be to modify the committee rather than to untable the committee.
Okay.
You just have to do a second resolution. So it'd be a second resolution. So really, if you wanted to do a whole brand new one, it should stay where it is.
Okay.
In theory. Okay.
Any other discussion on the matter? Senator Thompson?
I kind of think I'd like the direction for this committee or position to be crafted by the people interested. So I almost think I want to hear, like when you're advocating and running for this position, I want to hear what you would do with it. And I think that's how we should decide what merit it has.
Go ahead.
Merit, it's, oh.
I thought you said Meredith.
Any other discussion on the matter? Senator Jones?
So I'm understanding that a lot of people are like, I've heard that, you know, we have the Wade Center, we have a lot of other counseling resources on campus right now, but I do want to reiterate and just point out that mental health, like especially in this day and age, is very important. And I don't think that there's ever too much resources or like too much support for something like that. And I think that, like, while yes, the Wade Center is doing a really great job and they're doing a lot better than they have, that's no reason why we can't fight.
Any other discussion on the matter? Okay, seeing none, I'm gauging the climate of the room. It sounds like a lot of people are still very interested in mental health as a discussion topic. So that was tabled until the second meeting of Senate. This is the first meeting. And kind of just to scrutinize my Senate and its committees, I'm still gonna write up the super bare bones resolution and bring it back if anybody would like to sponsor it, or if anybody has any ideas. Please email me, come to my office hours, and I'd love to have a discussion with you about it. And are there any other questions, comments, concerns, ideas, scrutinies, anything? Seeing none. There is new business. Here we go. All right, we are going to do the first round of nominations for all of the Senate committee chairships, ex officio positions. Well, not all of them, but most of them. How do you do this there?
Essentially, we'll go down, each position will have somebody explain it, either one of us or the person who's held it, and then we'll do not around nominations, and then we'll
would the FEPC chair be so kind as to keep a list of anybody who's nominated? So, well, we can actually list. So how this works for any new senators or serving senators is we're gonna go down the list of our agenda and each of the positions that are open. Anybody who wants to give any insight and prior experience would be preferred for any of these, and then I'm gonna open the floor for nominations. Any member of the Senate, that means senators, representatives, or execs, can nominate somebody. However, those nominees can only be nominated if they are seconded by a sitting senator. And that goes for all the positions. Shall we begin? Okay, we will start with the faculty Senate student representative. Does anybody have?
We want to do executive committees?
We'll do EDC and SOC last.
Okay. So we're going to the faculty Senate student representative. Does anybody want to explain that position? Senator Ricker?
Sure. So similar to how the undergraduate body has a student government against together, similar to how the graduate students have a student government against together, the faculty on the university have a faculty Senate get together and discuss different issues related to them as professors and as staff posting. As the faculty student, as the faculty senate representative, you'll be going through the meetings, you'll be listening to what they're talking about, and relating anything that is relevant to undergraduate students back to the senate. In the position, sometimes at least, you have the opportunity to get involved in subcommittee work on the faculty senate. And it's just a really great opportunity to like, keep faculty and just get involved and understand what's happening.
Thank you. So are there any? Yes, Senator.
I have one question. When does faculty student senate, the faculty senate student representative, no, I'm so sorry, when did they meet? So sorry, when did they meet?
I do know that their meetings are listed on a calendar somewhere. I believe it's bi-weekly in the Wells Conference Center unless they change something. But we can have President Tripp look for it. Right. Any other questions? Senator Dummerton?
And I also, we didn't cover it, are self-nominations allowed? Okay.
Fun fact, you can nominate yourself, you cannot second yourself though. And when somebody seconds you, the person nominated has to accept the nomination. If they're absent, they automatically accept the nomination. Senator Penn?
You can't second yourself, as in like, if you nominate yourself, you can't also second, but like, if like Senator Waters nominated me, I can't second myself.
Correct.
Both times I can't second, okay, good checking, thank you.
All right, are there any nominees for the faculty senate student representative? Senator Dummerton?
I nominate myself.
Sorry.
I gladly accept, that's a
Yes, that works. All right. Senator Ricker?
I nominate myself. Second, that was quite pretty much.
For the sake of time, I'm gaveling you. Senator Ricker?
I nominate Representative Guzman.
Accept. Second. Oh, my bad. Second. I accept.
Any other nominees for faculty senate student representative? Seeing none, we will move on to the student legal representative. Any insight, Senator Waters?
I nominate
Oh,
Senator.
they're doing the explanation for them.
Oh, sorry.
Vice President Rocky?
Yeah, I did this last spring. It's kind of fun. You meet with Sean, you promote the student legal services and what they do. Communicate that to students. You talk to them about like the legal issues that students are having. You report to the Senate. Like in general terms, what students are dealing with him for all that. And yeah, it's fun. It's a cool guy to talk to bi-weekly.
And yes, as President Tripp just informed me, this is one of the positions to where a senator or a representative can hold it. That's the only positions that can only be held by senators are the standing committee chairships, just so you know. So are there any questions for Vice President Rocky? Seeing none, are there any nominations for student legal representative? Senator Reader Seaver?
Yep, you got it. I nominate myself for the
student legal.
Yep, student legal representative.
Second.
I accept.
Thank you. Any other Vice President Goldfield?
I nominate Juliana Julie.
Second.
Are there any other nominees for student Senator Waters?
I nominate Senator Thompson.
Second. Accept.
Any other nominees? Going once, going twice. Next, we have the representative to the graduate student senate. Any insight? Senator Finn?
Sorry, I don't know if this was mentioned, if it was, I apologize. Did we say that there's gonna be a second round of nominations next?
Next week.
Okay, yeah, just for any perspectives driven about.
Absolutely.
We could have our actual GSG rep explain this.
I would love to.
Hi, I'm Harrison Goldspiel. I'm a grad student and I'm the counterpart to this role for the graduate student government. I'm a liaison officer for GSG. What that means is I will basically check in with you, hopefully every once in a while, maybe once a week or every 2 weeks, and we could just kind of share key updates from our various executive officer meetings and our Senate meetings, and report back whatever is really relevant for me, graduate students, for you, undergraduate. Also in my role, I'm kind of the liaison to the grad worker union. So this is also just kind of the general pitch If anybody ever has questions about the graduate student government, graduate school in general at UMaine, or the union and what's going on there, I know some people have been hearing lots of, general things that we have a graduate worker union now that might not know what that means. Feel free to reach out to me. And if you're interested in running for this, you're nominated tonight, feel free to come and find me in chat.
Thank you.
And then what time do this GSG meet each week?
Oh yeah, GSG, we're meeting now Fridays at 3 p.m. And we do it a little differently in that it's like bi-weekly, so every other week is a Senate meeting, which is open to any graduate student. And the undergraduate graduate is welcome to join those too. And then the other alternating weeks is the executive meetings, which is just the executive officers, which is also open to the rep from, your student government if you ever want to show up.
May I ask where GSG congregates?
Oh yeah, it's in Stoddard Hall. I don't remember the room number, but it's that big Stoddard Hall. And it's like right there in front of the big courtyard. It's also on Zoom, so I can share that information with Ian or you just reach out to me.
Thank you. Are there any takers or givens?
Nominees.
Senator Merchant?
I nominate myself. Second. I accept.
President Fripp?
I nominate Senator Ricker.
Second. I accept.
Representative Levesque?
I accept.
Any other nominations? Seeing none, we will move to the Orono Council liaison.
Okay, so, Orno, so it's basically a standard liaison position. I would strongly recommend people, whoever, if somebody takes this position, to physically go. You don't have to, because they do upload their stuff on Zoom, but it's generally, you get a lot of more, ease. You can ask them physical questions like if, they're closing, Stillwater Avenue, Stillwater, that's what it is. If they're closing,
Park Street.
Yeah, Park Street. If they're closing Park Street and you guys need to know, or if you think that students should know, you can ask them follow-up questions in person, but you don't have to do that. Then every second and fourth Monday at 6 p.m.
Any questions or nominations? Senator Waters?
I nominate Senator Martell.
Second. I accept.
Any other nominees? Seeing none, we'll move on to the Old Town City Council liaison.
Basically the same thing, it's just that they meet on the third Monday at 6 p.m.
Any questions or nominations? Senator Michaud?
I nominate Senator Martell.
I accept.
Okay,
great.
Any other nominations? Seeing none, we will move on to the representative of military and veteran student affairs.
In this position, the way that I set it up from last year is that you're in the bridge between the Senate and all the different military and veteran communities on campus. So you go and speak to NRTC, ROTC, both with the students and with the faculty at the respective places. You try and set up community events and you allow yourself to be volunteered for events as well. Yeah, it's a lot of talking to a bunch of different people and letting them know what their opportunities on campus, and a lot of NRTC and ROTC students feel very separated from the student body. And so in this position, you're trying to make them feel like they're more part of the community, and you let them know of the different things that we have available for them for UMSG.
Thank you. Are there any questions or nominees? Senator Ricker?
I nominate. I nominate Senator Shumpert.
Second.
Senator Thompson?
I nominate Representative Levesque.
Second.
Any other nominations? Seeing none, we will move on to what's next, the University of Maine Security. Does anybody Well, this is a position that I have held before. What it entails is on campus, there's a security committee that meets over Zoom every few months. It's made up of various leaders around campus, like the chief of police, Kenda Shiu, I believe that's how you pronounce her name. She was like one of the big wigs on that. So people, I know, it was just, okay. But it's, people meet every couple months. It's a very dismal budget. So literally anything that you suggest or anything that students bring to you, it's great to mention it to the committee, but it's, yeah, it's like kind of close. But if there's complaints about lighting on campus, if people are confused about the blue lights or the Black Bear Safe app or the police activity on campus, this is a great place to put that in. Any questions? Vice President?
I actually have another comment adding on to that. Recently, I've spoken to UFAP when I was doing youth student orientations, and they would like to get in touch. And I think that's a really good opportunity for whoever decides to take on this the ex officio position. As well as I have a current contact card from one of the UMPD members who would like to connect. So when you are placed in this position, come meet me, email me something, and I can get that to you.
Thank you. Any other questions or nominations? Senator Waters?
I have bad news. It meets Mondays at 9 a.m. Mondays at 9.
Like weekly?
That's where it's on my calendar is Mondays at 9 a.m., but not weekly. But like you would have to, you would.
I do know that the person who chaired that committee, that changed hands, so they might be shaking things up a little bit.
This was yesterday. I didn't go.
Okay, I didn't either, so. Any other questions or nominations? President Tripp?
I nominate Senator Shelmerdine. Second.
Any question, Senator Kang?
I nominate Senator Jones.
Second.
I accept.
Senator Ricker?
I nominate Senator Jones.
Second.
I respect the class.
Senator Markam?
I nominate Senator Ricker.
Second.
Senator Baum?
Nominate Senator
For second,
Any other nominations? Seeing none, we will move on to the Center for Undergraduate Research Liaison. Any insight?
That'd be me who gives insight into that. So the government holds this position, meets with the Center for Undergraduate Research. They have a couple meeting categories in which they want you to attend. One of the main ones is the student symposium meetings. They're already working on scheduling those. They're kind of at sporadic times throughout the year. But whoever gets the position, they'd be happy to work with because they love having input from like the student side. Yeah, you mainly work with student symposium, and that's the second the spring semester event. But throughout the year, you also get to talk with GSG representatives who also work with Cougar. And you just get general updates on any funding or grants that they give out to undergraduate students, and you kind of represent that information here.
Thank you. Any other questions or nominations? President Tripp?
I nominate Senator Baum.
Second.
I accept.
Any other nominations? And I actually do have a question for Senator Baum. This position, when it comes to the special committee, what is that? The undergraduate student symposium committee, when that resolution was written, was it inscribed in there that the liaison automatically chairs that committee? No?
It's inscribed that whoever, when the year starts out, that they kind of work to establish the committee. But once the committee starts up, it's whoever is represented, and it doesn't have to be the Center for Undergraduate Research liaison. It gets whoever within the committee who gets to be the representative.
Thank you. Any other nominations? Seeing none, we'll move on to the standing committee chairs. Marketing and Public Relations already has a chair, so we're going to move on to membership. Anybody want to elaborate on membership?
I think VP Lehman can speak to this. Can I? I mean, I did it forever ago. I guess the essential part is that in the direct wording of the job, you're in charge of refreshments at meetings, and you can do that liberally. We normally get pizza, you can get whatever, I guess. Around holidays, you can get cookies and stuff. But you work with him.
I also, another mini brain fart, but in our standing rules for the Senate, the standing committee chairships are also listed in here with like really brief descriptions, so I'll just elaborate on that. The standing committee on Senate membership shall have jurisdiction over all issues surrounding the logistical matters of Senate meetings, to include location, refreshments, and that part's not true anymore. In addition, this committee shall be responsible for the education of, that's also not true, and the organization of the Senate retreat each semester. Yes. Are there any questions and any nominations? Senator Bishop.
I nominate Senator Payne.
Second. I respectfully decline.
Any other nominations, President Tripp?
I nominate Senator Ricker. Second.
Any other nominations, President Tripp?
I nominate Senator Buzzell.
Second.
I respectfully decline.
Any other nominations, Vice President Lehman?
I nominate Senator DeMerchant. Second.
Lisa?
Senator Ricker?
I rescind my own nomination.
Absolutely.
Okay, please.
Any other nominations? Vice President Brock.
Senator Payne, reconsidering.
If someone will second. Yeah, I accept the nomination.
Any other nominations? Seeing none, we will move on to policy and procedure, where in the standing rules, the standing committee on policy and procedure shall have jurisdiction over all matters of the policies and procedures of UMSG, as well as over all relevant documents and matters regarding the University of Maine, the UMaine system, and its policies regarding education of the undergraduate student body and its administration. So pretty much what that entails is if anybody has a resolution or bill that you would like to pass through the Senate, that's probably the most popular place to pass it through when it comes to amending the Constitution, the standing rules, hiring policies. Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Any questions or nominations? Senator Buzzell?
Nominate Senator Waters.
Second.
I accept.
Senator Marcone?
I nominate Senator Ricker.
Second.
President Tripp?
I nominate Senator Baum.
Second. I respectfully decline.
Senator DeMerchant?
Just a question again, when does Polycom meet?
Whenever the chair wants it.
Sorry?
Whenever the chair wants it. Senator Baum?
I nominate Senator Buzzell.
Again, I respectfully decline.
Vice President Oldfield?
I nominate Senator Thompson.
Second.
I respectfully decline.
Any other nominations? Vice President Heyman?
I nominate Senator Shelmerdine. Second.
I respectfully decline.
Any other nominations? President Tripp?
I nominate Senator Thompson.
Yeah, we would just have.
Oh, did I already just realize that? Okay, my bad.
Any other nominations? Seeing none, we'll move on to political activism. Any elaboration?
Yeah, so this committee, of which I have been the chairman of for the past 2 semesters now, has been pretty dormant. 2023 and first half of 2024 were not election cycles. Generally, the purpose of this committee is just kind of spur, political involvement on campus, and especially within UMSG. There wasn't that much of that besides the municipal ballot question back in March. But I think going forward, as we approach November election debate tonight, I think there are going to be a lot more opportunities available for anybody who wants this position to kind of help move that along. I know recently the Democratic nominee for the United States Senate here in Maine, David Costello, reached out to me and he says he has agreed to collaboration with Benny Kazunis, the Republican nominee for Senate, and they'd like to do a forum here. And I think that would be great. And I think whoever gets this role would be very helpful in making that happen.
Thank you. So I'm also going to add on, just based on the standing rules, Political activism shall have jurisdiction over the education of the University of Maine undergraduate student body regarding political issues and the promotion of political involvement among that constituency in ways which are strictly non-partisan. I'm only emphasizing this because one of the things that makes the student government so amazing is it's something called a 501c3 nonprofit organization, which is what gives us so much funding and so much influence and so much power relatively. What that means is strictly nonpartisan, not bipartisan. You are taking, whenever you take up political matters on this campus or in the state or in the federal or the world level, you are strictly a moderator and you're strictly a foundation for other people to be able to express themselves. I'm only stressing that for not obvious reasons. Senator Markham?
I nominate Senator Buzzell.
Second.
Senator Payne?
I nominate Senator Thompson.
Second.
I respect this time.
Senator, it's Reader Seaver.
Yep, you got it. I nominate myself.
Second.
I accept the nomination.
Senator Thompson?
I nominate Senator Waters.
Second, Senator.
No, oh, I respectfully.
No. Any other advisors to Delco?
I just want to add a little something into this, just to be really clear for the university as a whole, is that speakers of any kind that are political or in any way could be potentially cited, have to go through events and hospitality, which is our conference services at the university. So actually, University of Maine student government and student life and or anyone else is not able to actually sponsor a speaker of that kind anymore. It has to go through events and hospitality.
Senator Barnes.
Is that new? Nope, I do that all the time though.
Any other nominations or questions? Senator Bone?
Nominate Senator Grisham.
I graciously accept.
President Trick?
I nominate Senator Ricker.
Thank you. I respect the time.
Any other nominations or questions? Being none, we will move on to academic affairs. Wait, no, we're not. We're moving on to services. Steve.
Yeah, moving on that.
It has to do with the umbrella of the university called auxiliary services. Covers all kinds of things like Department of Transportation Services, like Maine card, bookstore, probably some other ones I'm forgetting, but it's a pretty broad bubble. And it's very big position, how I seen it handled, when I did it, and when VP Peterson did when he was a senator. You know, you get together with auxiliary services, you talk to them, it's kind of communication forum between student government and them, relay the information, see what's going on. There's always new things happening at this university, so it's good to keep up and tell the student government about it. You can also do all kinds of different things with it, like I said, last year's services. We're gonna be putting on, or for this year, putting on the bus coupon, so you can do all kinds of things with it. It's a little all of what auxiliary services is on campus.
Thank you. Are there any questions or nominees? Senator Ritter.
I nominate Senator Grisham. Second.
I accept.
Any other nominees or questions? Seeing none, we will move on to our special committee chairships, which we're gonna skip.
Academic affairs.
Oh, I'm crossing out things in my agenda, I'm so sorry. Next is academic affairs.
Academic affairs is new and it's my baby, but it's awesome. You have the way that it has been served in the last years, you have a meeting with the provost or an associate provost, which is like the dean of academics, on a pretty regular basis, and you bring student issues to them, and they bring their issues or their thoughts and their ideas to you to get a student input. But you also hold a committee, which is a cool part because you get to have people come to you with student issues too, and so like, and you get to also help them if you can, but also bring it up if you can't. Like, Director Mills brought an issue at the last meeting about library loaning policy and lots of other fun stuff.
Any questions or nominations? Representative Levesque?
Question, is this only available for senators?
Yes. Senator Martin?
I know, Senator Wise, second.
I respectfully decline.
Senator Merchant?
Second.
Others accept.
Senator Martin?
I nominate Senator Buzzell.
Second.
I respectfully decline.
Senator Michaud?
I nominate Senator Thompson.
Second.
I accept.
Senator Waters?
I nominate myself.
Second.
I accept.
Senator Fang?
I nominate Senator Ricker.
Second. I accept.
Any other nominations? Seeing none, we will now move on to the special committees. Being that the student mental health committee is kind of in limbo, we're gonna move on to the undergraduate student symposium.
I'll talk on that again. The undergraduate student symposium committee is the committee where undergraduate students who are interested in research on campus meet. They talk amongst themselves, they can prepare for the symposium at the end of the year, talk about changes they want to see in the year coming up, and your goal is to kind of facilitate that. Be a moderator, but if discussion is kind of lacking or have interest in research and the symposium this year is lacking, you kind of go out and you rally of interest for that, or try and get people to join, be involved in it.
Thank you. Any questions or nominations? Senator Martin?
I nominate Senator Ball.
Second.
Thanks.
Any other nominations? Seeing none, we will move on to the food and dining affairs committee.
I held this chair last year. This is a fairly new committee, which is President Tripp's baby. In this committee, you reach out to the representatives from University of Maine Services, as well as the representatives from Sodexo. And you just make sure that student concerns about the dining and related services, so like the Wells Pub, the Starbucks and other stuff in the Bears Den are being heard by Sodexo and the administration.
Thanks. Any questions or nominations? Senator Reader Seavers?
I nominate myself for this position. I'm gonna figure out what's going on with these prices, that's for sure.
Did I hear a second?
Second.
Do you?
I accept, I do accept.
Senator Buzzell?
Nominate Senator Ball. Second.
I accept.
Any other nominations? Senator Bone?
Nominate Senator Michaud. Second. I accept.
Any other nominations? Senator Fang?
I nominate Senator Chalmers.
Second.
I respectfully decline.
Senator Merchant?
I nominate myself. Second. Others accept.
Any other nominations? Seeing none, do you want to do exec committees or do you want to do?
Yes, please.
Actually, there's two more Senate committees, or not committees, positions on this report. There's the sergeant of arms.
Yeah.
Sergeant at arms. This position is sort of, I suppose, one of the ones that involves less out of Senate work. Is your primary job. Well, part that everyone knows is that at the beginning of the meeting, you have to help bring up stuff from the office to here and get all of these tablecloths on these tables and the room ready for the meeting. And at the end of the meeting, you have to fold all of the tablecloths. And also unofficially make sure we haven't left any trash around. Especially if the membership chair is absent and the food does not get cleaned up, it is your responsibility to make sure we don't leave a pile of food here for the janitors to take care of, because that's not very respectful of the space. Technically speaking, there is also a part of the job that if at any point someone is asked to leave the meeting, you technically should be the one to escort them out. I've never seen this happen ever, but for some reason, it always comes up when the job is listed out. So.
Fun fact, I plan on enforcing a dress code. So if you want to escort people out politely for not dressing minimally business casual or wearing UMaine colors and logos, you I'll leave it at that. Any questions or nominations, Senator Fenn?
I'd just like to add on that every once in a while, President Tripp or VP Peterson will ask me to close a window. Super exciting. I really enjoyed doing that last year.
Or turn off an AC? Director Mills?
I nominate Representative Balea.
Second.
I'll accept for now.
Keep in mind, we'll do nominations next week. If you're still a nominee, you can rescind your nomination next week. President Tripp.
Can you also talk about the emergency tie?
Oh, yeah.
This was an unofficial policy I adapted in my time as the Sergeant at Arms last year, where as an alternative to enforcing the dress code by force, I carried several ties around with me to every single Senate meeting, just in case anyone was called out for being out of dress code, to bring them up to dress code technically. This policy was technically used specifically by Senator Fang multiple times.
Any other questions or nominations? Senator Buzzell?
I nominate Senator Martin.
Second. Respectfully, respect decline.
Senator Demerjen?
I would like to nominate Representative Marco.
Second.
I respectfully decline.
Senator Buzzell?
Nominate Senator Bank.
Second.
I will respectfully decline now. Vice President Wolfield?
Point of information, if I nominate someone who's not here but is a sitting senator, what happens?
If a senator seconds them, they immediately accept the nomination.
I nominate Senator Harvey.
Second.
He accepts the nomination. Any other nominations? President Tripp?
I nominate Senator Warren.
Second.
Is she coming back? Oh, never mind.
Senator Warren accepts the nomination.
No, she's not coming back.
Oh, he's not?
Never mind, there is no Senator Warren.
Anyway, Senator Fenn.
I nominate Senator Jones.
Second.
I decline. Sorry, respectfully.
Any other nominations? Senator Demerjen?
I nominate myself.
Second.
I guess.
Any other nominations? Seeing none, we'll move on to the last Senate position, that being the President Pro Tempore. According to this, the President Pro Tempore shall act as the chair of the Senate in the event that the President of the Senate is absent at any meeting, or that the position shall fall vacant, or that the President of the Senate yields the chair. So say if I want to put a resolution through Senate myself as my own effort, I can't chair the Senate that I'm actively talking to, trying to get something passed. I would then yield the chair to the President Pro Tempore, who would then take up the chair. The thing is the President of the Senate can then take back the chair whenever they want to. That's the bare gist. Any other questions or nominations? Senator Marco.
I nominate Senator Rickard.
Second.
President Tripp.
I nominate Senator Baum.
Second.
I accept.
Senator Fang.
I nominate Senator Waters.
Second.
I respectfully decline.
Senator Michaud.
I nominate Senator Buzzell.
Second.
I accept.
Senator Fang.
I nominate Senator Michaud.
Second.
I respectfully decline.
Any other nominations? Senator Rickard.
No.
Senator Demerjen.
I would like to nominate Senator Jolin. It's how to pronounce Jolin.
Yeah.
Okay.
Second.
Can I be reminded of like the duties of this position?
If I yield the chair, you come up here and chair the meeting until I take it back.
I'll accept.
Senator Marco.
I nominate Senator
Harvey.
Second.
He accepts. And Representative Belay.
I nominate Senator Shelmerden. Shelmerden.
Second.
I accept.
Any other nominations? Seeing none, we will now move on to the executive committees. So while we're here, I'm also just this is something I'll also elaborate on next week to great detail. But as a senator, I'm sure that most of you are aware of this, but part of your responsibility or obligation, I should say, as a senator is fulfilling your requirements. That either means you're chairing a committee or you're sitting in on 2 committees. These are 2 of the committees that you can sit on. These are also the only 3 committees that I believe are voted for in the Senate, correct?
Oh,
Membership wise, yeah.
So I'll leave it at that. The first one is
And these ones count for your overall heart.
that's what I'm going to say, is these are the 3 committees that not only are they voted, you have to be voted in, but once you sit on this committee, your obligations are fulfilled, aside from the Senate committee, that's here. Except SEC.
Yeah. Now we're on the right track.
All right, first we have the executive budget. Would the BPFA like to elaborate?
Yep, so EBC this year is gonna be at 6:30 PM. I'm so sorry in advance since I know it's very late. At 6:30 PM on Mondays. So all funding requests that come through Senate first go through EBC, where we'll be able to enforce the financial policies, and then also if we need to amend things or slash budgets, everything can be done beforehand before it gets presented here.
Any questions or nominations? Senator Ricker?
One information for the vice president of financial affairs. Is there any, do you consider studying polio on nights that have longer meetings? Like such as the yearly budget?
We can, probably when we get to those, we're gonna try. It currently is at 6:30 PM because executives that are required to be there are already, they're gonna be running late to the meetings.
Senator Martel?
How many seats are
There are 4 appointed seats.
Yeah, additionally, there are 4, it's 4, and these seats need to be filled, so we will do nominations and elections for these every single week if we have to.
That's
Heads up.
Senator Bowles.
I nominate Senator Bowman.
Senator Buzzell?
No, that's Senator Waters.
Second.
I accept.
Senator Martel?
I don't get Senator Puzzle.
Thanks, so.
Representative Britton?
I nominate Senator Jones.
Director Mills?
I nominate Senator Thompson.
Second.
I accept.
Senator Martin?
I don't get Senator Harlan.
He accepts. Senator Ricker?
I nominate Senator Motion.
Do you accept what you said?
Oh, sorry. I just accept, sorry, I like.
President Griff?
I nominate Senator Shelmerdine.
Second.
I respectfully decline.
Senator Muslin?
Nominate Senator Ricker. Second. I said.
Any other nominations? Keep in mind, you can reconsider next week because we're doing nominations on this fall. All right, next is the Student Organizations Committee. I'll let you do it.
Thank you. Yeah, SOC, we meet on Wednesdays at 3:30 tentatively. This is slightly flexible depending on the needs of the we get elected, maybe. Deliberating on club recognition, you can activate clubs, deactivate clubs. It's a ton of fun. You get to meet with all the club officers that come in and learn about what they do. I think it's great. Yeah.
Any questions or nominations? Senator Ricker?
I'm so sorry, I just tweeted this, what time is the meeting?
It will be 3:30 on Wednesdays.
Senator Martins?
I nominate Senator Thompson.
Second. I accept.
President Tripp?
I nominate Senator Ricker.
Second. I said.
Vice? I'm going to tell nobody else is holding their hands next time. Any nominations? Representative Guzman?
I nominate Senator Payne.
Second.
I accept.
Senator Ricker?
I nominate Senator Ball.
Second.
Senator Russell?
Nominate myself.
Second. You accept?
Yeah, I accept.
Any other nominations? Vice President?
I nominate Senator Shelmerdine.
Second.
I accept.
Any other nominations? Vice President Crockett?
Oh, that was my nomination.
How many was that? More than 4, that's fine. Any other nominations? Seeing none, we will move on to the Student Entertainment Committee.
SEC will meet Mondays 1 to 2. Essentially, student entertainment encompasses hopefully a lot of event planning and all of that fun stuff, which can be very daunting and a lot, so a senator on this committee, like, plan stuff around campus and get a say and stuff, like. Honestly,
I do have a question. Would you care to elaborate on the structure of this committee as in how many Senate seats are there and who occupies the rest of the seats?
yeah, so there is only one Senate seat and then everything else is up to my discretion. That is, all right, what is your discretion? I don't know. I'm trying to get students on it as much as possible, but the senator just really helps in case no students join. Oh my God, there's so many benefits of being on senator. You get to help choose like the artists that we do. So if you were on it before, you would have gotten to like help choose the Joe Gatto show and stuff like that. And then when we do shows and all that, we usually do like a meet and greet with the artist, and you get to meet the artist because you helped work on the project.
Thank you. Any questions or nominations? Senator Waters?
I nominate Senator Fang.
Senator Marcon?
I nominate Senator Buzzin.
Senator Bone?
Nominate Senator Schoenberg.
Second.
Representative Lebeck?
Nominate Senator Dolan.
Second.
I respectfully decline.
Any other nominations? Seeing none, that concludes our nomination process for this week. Who did? I'm sorry, Senator DeMerchant, did you have another nomination?
Yeah, but I nominate myself, so I appreciate something.
Thank you. That being said, that concludes the nomination process for this evening. Once we get to new business next week, or would it be under unfinished business? It doesn't matter. Once we get to it on the agenda next week, we will go through all of that again. However, after we finish nominations for one position, the FPPC chair and myself will conduct elections for those, which would literally just constitute writing the names down on a piece of paper, and then somebody counts it up here, and then I announce who won those positions.
For your information, if there are too many people who are being given seats, you guys do speeches, right?
Yes.
Speeches.
If it's a position that you're super passionate about, I would suggest now would be a great time to start brainstorming how you want to pitch your leadership and your vision to your fellow student leaders. You also don't have to do a speech, but if other people do a speech. Alright. So there's no main motion, we will not be entering executive session, which puts us at the special orders and announcements. Any member of UMSG Inc. may address the General Student Senate for not more than 5 minutes. Senator Michaud.
Sorry, this is the third time talking about, one thing to emphasize about the bus certificate program, it is not automatically like, if you're a student, you don't automatically get $15 off, you get, it's actually a physical coupon, you get parking and transportation services at the DTAC Community Center, you gotta go there to get physical coupons.
Thank you. Senator Waters.
I have 2 possible extra seats in my car for the Board of Trustees meeting next Monday. You have to be up at 6 a.m. at my door, but if you have something to complain about, let me know.
No Trump space, right?
No Trump space.
Senator Schoenberg.
The first space committee meeting of this semester is on Thursday. And so I will write a brief of what happened in the meeting in the Senate chat, but I'll also write up something that's for the next meeting. Also, I was invited by the Dean of Engineering to join a advisory board. And so I'll update after I have that meeting also next week.
Hey, any other special orders and announcements? Fair elections practices, commissions, chairs, and
We are just in time to go watch the presidential debate, so please make sure you do that.
Senator Ricker.
Yeah, so back when I was a freshman, and I think maybe that's all I don't know, but there used to be a tradition in the Senate where after the Senate meeting, a bunch of the people in student government would go together like or like Wales or something, etc. And I just like to strongly encourage people to get sort of like taking up this tradition again. And there's a Senate who celebrates together, stays together. So.
I would also like to point out that usually, in the past, that tradition was always held by the most senior senator, which I believe is you,
Yes.
Senator Ricker.
Yes.
So, let's keep that in mind, and I have something, but everybody's done.
Any other special orders and announcements, Senator Marcone?
I guess I should have mentioned this in the Orono Town Council report, but we have a new town manager. I was on that committee and we selected, yes, I'll have the name next week. But we selected a new person and I stayed after school ended at the Wilson Center. Probably should have done that. Got food poisoning. It was horrible. It was horrible. But we selected a new town manager. Hooray.
Any Senator Buzzell?
WMD 91.9 FM, Warren Mary is currently accepting new DJ applications. So if you're interested, please talk to me or on the website, you can find an application there or paper application right outside of our stations.
Any other special orders and announcements, Representative Greenbaum?
Yeah, going off of the WMD 91.9 FM, the Accent Market is tomorrow. My radio show from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. So it's making its return this semester, and I'm super excited about it. Tune in.
Senator Bang?
The dining halls are somehow even worse this year, they got rid of they got rid of barbecue sauce hilltop, I like wish I would, that sounds so fun, yeah, no, thank you for making that face, President Tripp, but if no barbecue sauce hilltop. I would be more than happy to cede the chairship to whoever the Senate elects, but for now, anyone, including anyone in the back, please email me, jonathan.fang@maine.edu, I'd like to catch them while they're guards are down. And secondly, if for all UMSG members, you haven't gotten a chance yet, go down to the offices, say hi to Jeff and Pam, don't ask Jeff about solar panels. And yeah, I mean, go ask them how their summer was, talk to Pam, they do so much better things, but make sure we appreciate it.
Thanks. Any other special orders and announcements, Senator Zimmer?
So this is a good little thing, if you guys have any events, it's like on Maine and like community members come in, like Culture Fest, and Gay Festival, and like those are like two things that have community members come in. Just ask me if you are interested in possibly doing like a news coverage like segment. One and it's like I forget the news segment, but it's like on Sundays and they say like a main feature and like a local event throughout the entire state. So if you are interested at all, just let me know so I can put you in contact. Thanks.
Representative Levesque.
Back to our guest speaker, Dominique Espirito, if anybody is also interested in that and can't get a hold of VP Peterson, I am in pretty much constant contact with Dominique, so if anybody has any questions or wants to talk to her on a more personal level, asking about these different programs that she's running, feel free to contact me as well.
Any other special orders and announcements, Senator Wilson?
This is just something to know. They have poutine at the Wells Bar. It's an important part of the French Canadian cultural heritage. You should go try it if you haven't done it before.
Any other special orders and announcements, President Tripp?
Okay, mine's gonna be really quick. First of all, thank you all for such a great first meeting. It's really good to be back. Second, I want to do a big round of applause for Vice President Peterson for a great first meeting because it may not look correct. I remember how I felt the hour before Senate every night, and it doesn't get better. So just bear with him. It's not an easy job. And then finally, to all of our faces in the back, two things. One, normally when we have committees going and things, it's a little bit more interesting, so bear with us. And second, if you guys are observing today, please make sure you come get your signatures so we can get you guys on the road of sitting at the table. Because I promise you, when you do sit at the table, again, more engaging. And other than that, we are going to do a big group picture of just the first night. Again, not an official picture. And cabinet people, please stay after. I need you to add your emails to this thing. And then what else? That's it. Have a great night and thank you. Whoa. Yeah, I don't adjourn.
Never mind.
All right, that being said, my special order and announcement, if you are an observant senator, where do you want to do the picture?
I think that.
Great, I'm going to ask you to line up in an orderly fashion right here so I can sign all of your papers one at a time. Great, that being said, we will now hold the final.
So